Today's reading, and we're talking about the parable of the faithful and wise servant. And the Lord replied, "A faithful, sensible servant is one to whom the master can give the responsibility of managing his other household servants and feeding them. If the master returns and finds that servant has done a good job, there will be a reward. I tell you the truth, the master will put that servant in charge of all he owns. But what if the servant thinks, my master won't be back for a while, and he begins beating the other servants, partying, and getting drunk? The master will return unannounced and unexpected, and he will cut the servant in pieces and banish him with the unfaithful. And the servant who knows what the master wants, but isn't prepared and doesn't carry out those instructions, will be severely punished. But someone who does not know and then does something wrong will be punished only lightly. When someone has been given much, much will be required in return. And when someone has been entrusted with much, even more will be required." The parable of the faithful and wise servant, also called the parable of the faithful and unfaithful servants, is told by Jesus to illustrate the seriousness of being ready for Jesus' return by early acting like a Christian. Context of the parable. In context, Jesus has just been discussing the fact that he will be returning at an unexpected time. For this reason, he urges them to be ready and watchful for his return. In order to further illustrate this seriousness of his return, he tells his disciples the parable of the faithful and wise servant, although also called the parable of the faithful and unfaithful servant for good reason. Summary meaning of the parable of the faithful and wise servant, faithful and unfaithful servants. Jesus says, "Blessed is that slave whom his master will find at work when he arrives. Truly I tell you, he will put that one in charge of all his possessions." However, Jesus then immediately warns them about the unfaithful servant. He says that if the servant says to himself, "My master is delayed," and thus begins to mistreat his fellow slaves and drink instead of working, then the master of that slave will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour that he does not know. He will cut him to pieces and put him with the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. God will not be fooled. Those who are hard at work serving their master, God, will be rewarded. However, those who pretend to be God's servants but do not serve their master while he is not present will be put with the hypocrites and the unfaithful. And I thank you.